Hello everyone, we are here, we are live, we are ready to go, and we are once again in Kerbin-sized real solar system. This is the mod where it's a real solar system that you're working with, but it has been shrunk down to sort of Kerbal size. So we have a Kerbin-sized Earth down there below us, but instead of having the Mun and the Minmus, we have the Moon, and on like that. And some people might be wondering where it is I'm starting from. This is Octstat. No, it's not. What am I talking about? This is the Octo 3. Where did I get that from? That's pulling something from the past, that's for sure. But this is the Octo 3. I know at the conclusion of last week's stream, I had put up a mapping satellite to map biomes in and around the Earth, and I have a second satellite that is due to go up, and that is absolutely true, and we'll be launching that momentarily. But while I was digging through the contracts trying to figure out what I was going to do today, I came across this contract to reposition Octo 3 into an adjusted orbit of Earth, and I thought that might be an interesting one to kind of start with. So this is something we launched quite some time ago. It's up here kind of measuring out Earth's magnetic field. It's got the magnetometer boom, and it's got a radiation detector aboard, and it is in this very kind of elliptical orbit. I did that so that it would cross through the various magnetic fields, and it wants me to put it into this adjusted orbit, which if you turn it this way, you can see it's in the same plane. What we're changing is the argument of the periapsis. We're kind of taking the whole orbit and we're just kind of swinging it. The value of the apoapsis is remaining the same as is the periapsis. We just want to twist the whole orbit to the left here. And I thought that might be an interesting exercise just to kind of start this with. Now, if you're going to pick up a contract like these, one of these adjust the orbit contracts, what you want to make sure is that you have enough delta V aboard. So before well, actually that's not true. I saved the game, because if you don't save the game, you don't get to see this orbit here. And then I came out here, then I accepted the contract, and I popped out here, and I noticed here I have 1,086 meters per second of delta V aboard, and I worked out what it would take just by placing a maneuver node. And worked out that I had plenty. But you definitely want to do that before accepting the contract for real. And that's why I saved the game first, in case it didn't work out. I could revert back and have not accepted the contract ever at all. Other thing we want to get into today is one of the contracts I was looking at was to orbit the moon. So what I'm thinking about is creating a science gathering satellite to get in orbit of the moon. And kind of the main impetus behind this is I want to build I have a launch vehicle that can carry a single Kerbal into space. I want to create a better one, but for that I need to unlock better capsules, and for that I do need to, I can get this out, for that I do need to have science unlocked. And one of the motivating things about this is, and this isn't going to happen today, but I thought I'd show, I got here, TFSM389's wreckage. He's in need of a rescue. I don't have a vehicle capable of getting out to there, so I want to deal with that as well. And one last thing before we get started with all of this. I think we're okay. We're still 4 minutes away. Actually, let's do this first. I'll have to remind the other thing. So where you want to do this maneuver is right where the two orbits cross. So that's going to be right here. And this orbit, this is going to be a lot of radial. That's what's going to end up giving us this twisting effect here. And if you look, we're coming in like this. So we need to, from left to right on your screen, we need to pull the orbit this way. So that's going to be the radially in vector. See how it kind of pulls it that way? Now, as I do that, I'm undoubtedly affecting my apoapsis. You can see it moving outward. So you also have to simultaneously add some retrograde. So it's going to be a combination of radially in and retrograde till I get, that should be all I need to do, until I get it to make sure I don't actually hit the craft. Well, see, that's what happens. So I pulled a bit on the normal one. What's really nice with the little widgety tool is I can go down here and I can literally just go in here and type a 0 in for the normal. Unfortunately, it also thinks I'm doing that. Okay, where are we at? Let's put this back. Okay, so radially this way. Again, retrograde. Shouldn't take long. But all of a sudden I was looking, I was going to talk about something else, and I noticed we are kind of coming up to where we need to be here. Retrograde again, a little bit of normal. Look at that, we're very, very close. Maybe switch it over to the little widgety tool thing. A little bit of normal in, a little bit of retrograde. I'm pretty sure if you just eyeball it and you're matching it, you're there. That's going to be there. So this is got to be burned in about 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So we're going to get ourselves ready for that. But while we're waiting for that to come up, I do want to welcome aboard my most recent YouTube member, and that is Peter von Throsta. Thank you very much, Peter. I always like to recognize my most recent either Patreon patron or YouTube member. So welcome aboard, Peter. And of course, a very, very welcome or very, very heartfelt thanks to all of the people who support this channel through Patreon or through simply just Patreon or YouTube memberships, or for that matter, liking and subscribing and all of that kind of stuff too, if direct membership is not the thing you want to go for. So I'm just sort of positioning this onto, this is an old probe. It's been here for a while. The only reaction wheels are in the probe body here in the middle. So I'm just getting it onto our vector here. And we'll get this adjusted. And then we'll get our burn, or we'll get down and launch that other satellite. Oh, I can see I have the throttle limiter down. I want to pump that. What's my TWR on this thing? 1.9. Oh, that's why I turned the throttle limiter down. Okay, that's good. It's all fine. Oh, somebody was asking about the moon's orbit. Yeah, the moon is in a inclined orbit. You can see that. It's interestingly very close to the inclination of these orbits, which actually is sort of a coincidence, but not entirely a coincidence. I'll talk about that maybe later. Should probably retract this. So retract. Let's retract that. I don't know if that affects the center of mass or not, but I'd prefer not to find out in the middle of the burn. Whether it models the mass being suddenly way out here. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, whoa. It's having a bit of, it's a little bit unbalanced, this fella. Like riding a little bit of a bucking bronco here. I maybe should have started the burn a little earlier and kept the throttle down, but seems to be okay. Sort of fighting with it a little bit. And I don't necessarily have to get this down to 0 on the maneuver. If this, let's reduce the throttle. If this requirement here goes green, then we're good. I can cut the throttle at that point. So I'm just looking at the white lettering over here. There, it seems to be staying on there relatively. Oh, I think it's good. Nope, nope, that was just the antenna and generate power part. There it is. It's just gone green, and then it's the obligatory 10 seconds. And for this, I'm going to get 34,000 curb bucks and 4 reputation for doing almost nothing. There we go. Contract complete. Excellent. Okay, we will extend our magnetometer again. I think it's actually collecting something here. Yeah, it is. It's doing something. Okay, and we'll rearrange this for solar panel purposes. Maneuver node can go away. Oh, this is a sluggish probe. Do I have electricity aboard? Yeah, I do. It's just really, really sluggish. Just trying to get it so it's kind of vertical on the screen so that when this pops back into the sun, it'll be alright. That looks pretty good. Alrighty, so with that, let's get ourselves back to the Space Center. Let's launch that other mapping satellite. Yes, I have noticed that too, John, and that's what I was going to talk about. And that can't be a coincidence, though I don't know the history of Cape Canaveral, but John is pointing out that Cape Canaveral seems to be in the perfect place for getting yourself into the same plane as the moon. That's how those two ended up in the same plane as the moon, as long as you launch at the right time, which I find interesting. Anyway, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh yeah, we're gonna launch the other mapping satellite. So that is right here. Oh, it's still got a little bit of time. Okay, it's got a little bit of time to get built, so let's do that. A couple of hours. And then we has to... Oh! I don't know what just happened. I wasn't looking at the top close enough. Oh, we got some science here rolling in. And let's roll out MapSat 1. That's going to take 42 minutes. Oh, and then we're at night. I don't like launching at night, so we're going to go to the sunrise. And we're going to launch. Excellent. Okay. Alright, so this is it here. We built this last week. You'll get a look at it. It's got the radar altimeter aboard, and I'm just going to turn all of these noisy things off. And basically, yeah, we're just going to launch this to the south. Right, I pushed M, didn't I? There we go. That's about it. And I think I got to do this manually. I believe I do. I do not have a KOS processor aboard. No. So, we will, and go. Off we go. Let's get this puppy into orbit. Click this into here. So we're going to go to the south, which is 180 on the nav ball, and a tiny bit to the west. Around there-ish, I guess. Undoubtedly have to adjust this as it goes up. You can launch north, you can launch south. Though I suppose if you do launch north, I think you end up dropping a booster onto the eastern seaboard. I think south is probably better. It's falling over rather quickly, so I'm just going to take it off the lock to prograde for a little bit. Let it on. Never let it get out of that little yellow circle. Yeah, I pitched over too hard. Ah, come on, back. Back to there. And I'm probably a little bit too far west as well, if I'm not mistaken. Whoops. But we'll correct for that. I can look at what my inclination is doing. It's 79 degrees, 80 degrees. But what I'm going to wait for is just to start reducing the throttle here. We're getting close to 55 seconds. It's our time to apoapsis. Probably come a little more this way. A little more that way. What's our inclination like? 87? Yeah. $87.5. 88. So you gotta be watching that and watching apoapsis all at the same time. $89. So it's getting close. Okay, 90, locking that onto prograde. How's this doing? We can definitely reduce throttle a lot more. That's okay. This thing has a lot of delta V in it. Oh, no, I'm going for a 100-kilometer orbit. Okay. I was about to say I wasn't sure if I was going to lose the booster or reach 100 kilometers on the apoapsis first. Obviously, we staged a booster first, but just barely. We're almost into space here. Let's deploy that antenna. There we go. And I'm using this thing, by the way, if you look, how far am I from apoapsis? Still 2 minutes away. If you look here, it's marked as a relay on here. That's because of the antenna that I used. I really should mark this as, I can go in here and go rename somewhere, right? Was it under control or command? Rename. Put this back to being just a regular probe. And that's because this is a relay antenna. And the reason I used a relay antenna is because it's faster than it's the fastest antenna I've locked so far. And for the SCANsat antenna up here, generates a lot of data. So you want to be able to transmit that pretty quick. So Jules Verne picked, I don't even remember that, for Earth to the Moon. Jules Verne picked Tampa, Florida as his launch site. Just on the wrong coast. I'm going to disagree with the more efficient to go full throttle all the way. I find I have a lot more luck with reducing the throttle. And I'm pretty sure I put it to the test at some point in my long and distant past. The reason being is that it puts a lot more energy into the periapsis. Now, unfortunately, I should start throttling up here. I didn't reduce throttle enough because I was spending so much time looking at my inclination, so I missed the fact that my time to apoapsis was getting away on me. But if you keep the apoapsis relatively close to the craft, you end up putting a lot of energy into your periapsis, and it makes this final circularization burn very, very trivial. So I will actually disagree that it's more efficient to go full throttle all the way. Gotta pitch up a bit. Started that. This is a little wimpier than I was anticipating. I'm just gonna pitch up a little bit, keep that time to apoapsis ahead. Keep it above 0. Okay, I can start. We're getting close. The real efficiencies come into building pretty light upper stages and not having a high TWR right up to the end. A little more. Okay, so that is that fella all set. Let's spin it around so it gets some nice rays, just like we did with the other one. We'll start up that antenna. That feels pretty good right about there. Start that SCANsat antenna. I don't think I get any kind of animation with this. No, there's nothing there. And again, this is for a contract. I should probably have shown that to people. There is the multispectral scan is already on its way. You can see it's 32% of 75% done. And now we are starting the low resolution scan. At least we should be. Let's do a little bit of time warping and make sure that's happening. The low resolution altimetry scan, that is. And we should see this little thing click up. See, data. Yeah, you can see it's transmitting it so it doesn't build up on the actual vessel. Let's just take a look at SCANsat, make sure we are actually doing our scan here. So this is my biome map so far. That was the one we launched at the end of last week. That is filling in nicely, but I want to change it to an altimetry scan. Yep, you can see a little bit of it's happening. You can see it happening here a little bit. I think we're just over the ocean, so it's not much to see. But so that is happening. Close that, close that, close that. And And noticing here how it comes in chunks. There's nothing there, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of data, it transmits it away. Anyway, that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. So there we go. 2 missions in how much time? 20 minutes. Why is it always time goes by so quick? Hello, Addison, and welcome. Glad you can make it. All right, what do I got next on my list? Oh, I know what I wanted to show people. I know what I want to show people. So let's get back to the Space Center first. I don't know. I know these go away when you launch, but they always annoy me. There. Just recover those. I want to go into the administration building, and oh my goodness, does it look different. This is the building none of us ever go into, but it looks different because of the Strategia mod. Now, this is one of my favorite mods. I love this mod. And the reason is what it does is it adds in all of these programs that give you various bonuses and penalties depending upon which one you pick. And I love it because it just sort of helps you steer. It just gives you added direction on top of the contracts. And I never installed it at the beginning of all of this because I thought for sure that it wouldn't integrate well with the real solar system mod, with it being Earth and the Moon and Mars and Venus and all of that. But if you take a look down the programs, we have an Apollo program, and it does talk about going to the Moon. And we have a Hermes program, which talks about sending probes to Mercury. And we have, this is for Venus. These are Mercury, Venus, like, we got asteroids, we got Mars, we got more asteroids. This is like amazing that it does this. So it just adapts itself. And as soon as someone in the YouTube comments pointed out to me that this adapts itself like this, I was all over it. Okay. Now, because of the level of my administrative building, maybe I should fix that. I can only have one active strategy going. So what I think I'll do, let's just go through these. I mean, Apollo program, obviously, or moon probes. Maybe moon probes might be a good one to grab right now, considering what I wanted to do. So just to sort of look at this, and it'll give you an idea of what's involved. The effects of picking this particular strategy is that you will get plus 400% funds to milestone gains for the moon. So every time you get a milestone for being around the moon, you will get 400%, 4 times the funds from that. But it's minus 80% funds from milestone gains around other bodies. But I've got pretty much all my milestones around Earth, so I think I'm pretty good there. Increases the likelihood of receiving contracts with the moon in them, which is nice. And then the objectives, if you complete these objectives, you can land probes in 3 different biomes on the moon. A penalty of 150,000 funds will be applied if canceled before that objective is reached, and a penalty of 500 reputation will be applied if I cancel this before. So basically, I got to land 3 probes somewhere on the moon, and this will advance me 100,000 funds. I get 25,000 funds and 75 reputation for a reward upon doing this, and penalties. You can see you get how this works. Okay, and yeah, I think I don't know. I find that pretty exciting. I think this seems like a very sensible one to grab, so I'm going to grab that right now. And and again, you want to do this before you really get out there. I've already been to the moon once. Unfortunately, I did a flyby. Now, should I upgrade? That's a good question. Should I upgrade? Should I upgrade? What's it cost to upgrade the administration? Oh, for goodness sakes, I should upgrade. It's only 150,000 funds. I have over 700. So let's upgrade, and that should allow me to pick another strategy, right? Oh, no, it doesn't yet because Kerbal Construction's time is going to take 8 days. 8 days to build this. So, okay, that's that. So, anyway. Strategy and mod, very excited about that. I want to get into here because I'm pretty sure under Exploration Plus we have the Orbit the Moon contract. So I'm going to grab that there, and the contract's pretty simple, orbit the moon. So what I want to do is get a probe out to the moon, get it into orbit, and really this is going to be about bringing home a whole ton of science because I really want Yeah, I don't have anything that I can unlock right now. But I really want to get into here and get some of these. Oh, that's the Mark 1. That's the lander can. There, this re-entry, this is the 2-person re-entry module here. Maybe get into the Mark 1, but you can see, well, this is only 30. I'm very close to being able to get that. But I want to start getting into this zone here and start getting some more Kerbals up. Anyway, we got a whole bunch of this. We can just delete that stuff. Let's get into here. Let's take a look at the strategy. All right, so that is new, and we are, let's see, our best probe body is the Octo. Let's start with that. So this is just basically going to be going for science. So the first thing I want to do is I want to, if I open up here, and I go to filter to the current vessel, it shows all the science that I have on here right now. And I really want to take a look at what science do I need. So right now, if I configure the science, let's just actually take, let's see, it's got a telemetry report. Like for instance, let's close that. If I look at the moon, I've got telemetry around the moon high, but I don't have any space near. And so I want to get that space low. So I'll keep the telemetry report on there. I also have, okay, there's Geiger counter. Ah, here we go. There's the light experiment. Let's take a look at each of these. So here's the light experiment. But you really want to take a look at, you know, what's the situations here. So these take just 10 seconds. Space low, space high. I've got nothing. So that would be a good one to make sure to include. I also have the might experiment. The might experiment is space high, space low, and biome specific space low, but you got, oh, only around bodies with an atmosphere. See that? So around the moon, that's no good. So the might experiment, we're not going to bring along. And then we have the sight experiment. The sight experiment, I've not done around the moon at all. It is space low, space high. I'm not allowed to do it around the sun. But otherwise, this one looks good. And this is a long duration. It takes an hour to perform. So, problem is I can only do... Oh, shoot. I think I might just stick with the sight and the light. Because I only have room for 3, or for 2. We'll keep the dilemma. We'll bring the sight another day. Anything else? Nope, that's it. So we'll go with the sight and the light. Okay, so that takes care of that. We also want to take a look at our science here. We also have thermometers. This is not necessarily going to be where it's going to be. The double C seismic accelerometer, of course, needs to be on the surface. We have a Geiger counter. We have the magnetic boom. This is just about deciding what we have. The mystery goo and the materials science junior thing, really, the transmit rate back is just pitiful. You really need to return it. That's not going to be part of the equation. So I'm not going to be doing those. These are SCANsat things. We do have a barometer. So now we can take a look at our science archive. We can see what do we got here. So around the moon, just space high. I got space, so we're going to keep the magnetometer. The radiation scan around the moon only done, oh, it just says space and global, which means this is radiation scan depends upon the magnetic fields. But the moon, does the moon go into, that's a very good question. Let's call this Lunar 1. Oh, I can't do that. Lunar 1. Save that. Does the moon go through Earth's magnetic field? I don't think the barometer is going to work. I agree. I was just being complete there, John. The barometer will get ripped off. YouTube's unsubscribing you, Andy. Why would it do that? That's weird. Just doesn't want you to subscribe to this channel. If the moon goes through Earth's magnetic field at any point, then there's additional science to collect. If it doesn't, so what we're going to do is going to hit 0 on the keyboard. So there's the Earth's magnetic field, and you can see here, oh my gosh, it kind of, it's really hard to tell, isn't it? As the Earth orbits the sun, I think there will reach points where the moon will go through there. And if it does, that's more science. So we're going to put the radiation scan on it. Why the heck not? Why the heck not? And at some point, hopefully the moon will drift in there, and that'll be more science. Okay. So back to here. All right, so open this up again. Again, filter by what's on the craft. I just find just throwing everything on the craft, because if you don't have it here, it's just, there's too much to look at. So the radiation scan's going to, the telemetry report, the magnetometer we decided to keep, right? Yep. Temperature scan, the atmospheric pressure scan. If you notice here, I just wanted to point out to people that although in stock you can use a barometer in a vacuum, Kerbalism says no, you're not going to do that. So if you notice here, it's only for in the atmosphere, so the barometer's coming off. So there's our science package right there. Okay, so that has now been decided. Now the other thing, I'm going to tweak that over there, get rid of this checklist, get rid of the Kerbal construction time stuff too. The other thing you got to do is think about transmission and what antennas to pick. And this is where I always end up. I've had probes in the past where I messed this up. I just sit there going, oh, I'm going to the moon. I'm just going to slap on one of these Communitron 16s and everything will be golden. But you do have to think about transmission rate, because if it's generating science faster than it can transmit it, that science will build up, and there's only 64 megabytes of data capacity. You can up it up to 256 megabytes of data capacity, but even then, if the experiment's going to run a long time, it'll fill that up pretty quick, and then you're not sending home any science until it can build this back down. So I do want to take a look at the transmission rates, and I made myself some notes. And the note I made myself, let me see. I looked at, there's one that takes 7, let's look at the data rate here. This is 3.82 kilobytes per second. This one's 25. You want to take a look at which is the most, and then make sure you can do the most. This one's 1 kilobyte per second. This one's 25 kilobytes per second. Oh. What did I write to myself? I thought I had one that took 7 days, but maybe I decided not to bring it. Okay, so this doesn't seem so bad. Oh, this one does. 364 kilobytes per second. What can the Communitron do for us? Whoop. Tells you the transmission feed. 2. Yeah, see, here we go, right? 2 kilobytes per second. And putting on more antennas will not fix the problem. What the game does is it looks at the fastest antenna. That's what determines the speed. So you see, this is going to run for 7 days. This is the light. What is it? It's the magnetometer report. It's going to run for 7 days. It generates 3.64 kilobytes per second, but I'm only transmitting at 2.2 kilobytes per second. I'm not even counting the other science that might be around. And so you can see that it's not transmitting quick enough. It's going to end up filling up the hard drive no matter how big I make it over 7 days. So what I'm going to do is find something that, let's get rid of you, that, will this do a better job? Yeah, see, I think that's it. I'm going to go back to this one. This is the same thing I have with the SCANsat. Oh my gosh. Let's just stick it on here for now. Remove this. Okay. And now I can transmit that. And I think everything else, like it runs for such a brief period of time, like this guy runs for only 30 seconds. I think the space in the hard drive, even if it's a little quick, a little high for a little bit, should be fine. Okay, so that deals with communication. I am simulating that in the planner. Yes, I want to turn on my experiments. Boom, boom. I want to turn on this experiment, this experiment, this experiment. Okay, So now I've got all my experiments. So the next step in all this is electricity. And with all those things running, they're going to consume 0.368 units of electric charge per second. So what I want to do is make sure that I can generate that much. So let's go over to, and again, this is just temporary for now. I might end up adjusting this, but I don't want to put on this big, huge, that's huge. So these guys are 0.3 units of electric charge per second. Oh, I'm on radial symmetry here. I'm going to put on 6 of these. And that is now producing 0.480 units of electric charge per second. And that's taking into account that some of them aren't being pointed in the right direction at any one time. So I think that actually will do me for solar generation. So I'll just sort of stick that up there, producing more than I am. And then finally, the last bit is when I'm in the dark, how long is this going to last for? Because I don't want everything shutting down because it's in the dark. And you can see here that it's only going to run for 1 minute and 34 seconds in the dark. I did a little bit of calculating, figured out around the moon, if it can handle 20 minutes, it should be okay. So let's put on some batteries here. So that's 200 units. Now, one thing with the batteries is there is an upgrade to increase their energy density. So I'm going to add that. Now it's 8 minutes. I want to get this up to 20. That's 15 minutes. That's still got the high energy. Yep. 21 minutes. So there we go. What's that? That's, should say down here, 485 units of electric charge. So they're not really sort of the probe design per se, but this is everything this should all run if this is on here like this. So what I think I'm going to do now is try and kind of clean this up a little bit, make this a little bit nicer looking. So let's put this, let's actually take the solar panels off. Maybe put the experiments all up here on the top. Might work a little bit better. Put this antenna up here. Put the thermometer there. The radiation sensor here. And then what I might do is just take these solar panels and put them all around the AuxSat. I could have put those also. I could also get the batteries up there. Maybe that's a more sensible thing to do. Oh shoot, I had that on two-way symmetry. Dopey Dora. Put my fingers in the wrong spots. What my problem is. Okay, let's just grab that whole package for a second. What if we take these batteries and put them this way up here? So maybe just 2 of them for now. Actually, maybe just 1. Here we go. Do that. As you can tell, I have no plan, but these guys are 100 each, so if I put on 4 of those, and again put them on the higher density, that should be the same. Just want to make this as compact as I can. That should still be 20 minutes. Yep. Alright, alright, alright. I'm kind of happy with this. Okay. And now, of course, we got to think about propulsion, and that means a budget. And it is a little different than it is in stock. The transfer out to the moon, because it's further away than the moon is in stock, the stock mun, is 920, and then I got budgeted here 250 for the capture, but I am ignoring any plane changes I got to make along the way. So that's about 1170, 12, I don't know, maybe 1400 meters per second. Let's see what I can get just with like a teeny tiny little probe, and then maybe just some sort of pusher on the top. Let's see, like let's get the tiniest of fuel cans and my smallest engine. Okay, so there we go. Is that's on back? Yeah. So that is 1,000, or that is 406 meters per second. And then what I'm thinking, well, what I should do is make sure this is, thinking of this for the probe to actually get the capture, and then I'll just build something bigger to do the transfer and all that kind of stuff. I think that should work. Yeah, I don't like how this is clipping just a little bit. So maybe if we took this whole business and just slid it a little bit this way. Like that. Okay. And then that likely got some torque happening here. We got 0.04 kilonewton meters of torque, but I think to fix that, I should be, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Should be able to take this motor and just slide it a little this way. Yeah. There, I saw 0 kilonewtons. So that balances out the mass, and I think, I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. Just trying to keep things from clipping, making it look like things are just sort of fitting together. That's sort of the idea. Extend the antenna. I always like it this way around. I don't know why. It does an extra little flip when it goes. I like. Okay. Gotta retract this. Clearly. Okay. Am I missing anything? Let's just get out my checklist. Look at the probe here. KOS processor. Do I want to put a KOS processor aboard this thing? That's a good question. KOS processor, unfortunately, is kind of big. I don't have the small one unlocked yet. I'm not putting that on there. No. So we won't worry about KOS with this. We'll just kind of, maybe on the lower stage I might, I guess. Yeah, we'll put it on the lower stage. Science configuration. Yeah, I've configured all the science. The experiments are on. Data storage, I think I'm good for. Sample slots are irrelevant. Communications, I talked about. Electrical storage, electrical generation. Part upgrades. Oh, do I want to take a look at this? We looked at the battery upgrades. Do I want to upgrade the engine? There are 77 ignitions. I'm sure that's fine. 4 minutes of burn time. This whole rocket only has 1 minute of burn time, so that's okay. Attitude control. There are reaction wheels in the probe body there, so that should be good. Let's actually move these down a little bit. There. Lights. Unfortunately, I don't think I have lights unlocked. I don't have lights yet. Give me lights. Okay, texture painting. Okay, so that's okay for now. All right, so what I want to do is I want to put a stage under this. Double check your probe experiments. Didn't I? I'm pretty sure all these are on. Waiting. The only one I turned off was the magnetometer because it can't go that way. And then we have, oh, the temperature. Oh, the thermometer was off. Might have happened while I was moving it around. Thanks. Okay, there we go. Let's put that back on compact. All right, so I want to put, I do have the small decoupler, right? Yes. There we go. And I want to build, I guess probably put a fairing around all this. No, let's go 1.25. Oh, that's the 1.25 meters on the fairing. Don't build the fairing yet. Stop it. There. And let's build something under this that will give a total of, I think, about 1,400 meters per second for the total DV. I think if that works out to be the case, I think I'm okay. So I'm going to put, I don't think it needs to be too big. I guess we'll find out. Oh, this is arranged by mass. That always makes it funky. Is that really my biggest 1.25 meter can? That's why I've been doing that trick. Okay, there we go. And let's try a spark engine under here. I always want to try and keep it small. That would be my advice to everybody, is start as small as you can and go bigger if you need to. Because sometimes I see people, they start big, they're going with big things right away, and then you end up building even a bigger rocket, and you got a rocket that's only job is to lift up so much rocket, right? The smaller you can keep everything, the better. So I was going for, I think, 1,400. Oh, wait, you know what? 1,400 meters per second for the whole mission part, but maybe do the upper 1,000 or so of the ascent. So maybe at around 2,400. This is still a lot. This is still a pretty healthy TWR. So I think I might go with a smaller tank still. Let's see. So So that's this tank next. Well, not all those. Come on. 2,400? Yeah. Now I'm wondering. What are these? Okay, I'm thinking. Thinking out loud. Thinking maybe this fairing's not going to be here. We'll put a fairing below everything. But I'm thinking like... I don't know. Making stuff up. How's that doing? 24, that's a ton. I think I might need to go big again. Does that have fuel in it? Oh, that's huge. And that's big. Okay. I was hoping to kind of use these little balls. I don't want this to get too tall. I could do the editing stuff on these guys. So I'll get into the editing with that tank configurator. Turn these from monopropellant to LFO. Add those in. What's that do for me now? That's no different than these, really. Yeah, I'm just getting silly. Let's go back to what I had. Let's go back to what I had. So I'm thinking this tank, and I like the spark. Do I have a little structural sort of, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Like that. Stick the little spark under there. 24, I might just take a little bit of arbitrary just fuel out of this just to keep the mass of the payload down a bit. Maybe not. You know what? Just keep it the way it is. I think it's good. I think that's good. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Yep. Okay. Oh, hello, Steven, and welcome as a novice Rocketeer. Thank you very much. Does it have the telemetry enabled? Sure it does, doesn't it? It is, yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking, I'm hoping this will get me to the moon. That's what I'm thinking. I'm a little nervous about it, to be honest, but okay. Now let's build this fairing. No, I gotta come out a little bit. Get around that magnetometer. That. Clamshell deploy. 3 sides should be good. Up the force. Okay, and now let's build a booster under this. So I now do have the TD12. Yes, I do. There we go. Those. Oh shoot, it's doing that. I hate that. Okay. Do I have small little engine plates? I don't think I do. I think I have the big engine. Oh no, that is the little engine plate. Okay, I think I'm gonna try this little engine plate. And and I know every time I do this, I ask people, am I doing it right? But I think I'm doing it right. And I'll get, for now, where's that Mark 1 lander can? That one. Shorter than that. Really short. That's good. That's the engine's clear. I think that works, doesn't it? Fiddling with, yeah. Okay. And we will edit this tank. Same idea. This is how I've been getting around. Whoops, what'd I do? Not battery, silly. Because I honestly hate the whole, like, stacking a whole bazillion of these together. I just find that silly. I just do. All right, so now I need to be able to get this puppy into orbit. So we are talking a budget, doing this all in my head, which is really dangerous, but 14 plus 36 is about 5,000 meters per second to delta V. If it's a little more, I'm not going to complain about that. We'll put a swivel on the engine, or on the bottom here. We'll see what that looks like. Oh my gosh, that's a huge amount. Oh, I should also take a look at the thrust. Thrust is fine. Thrust is fine. 5,000. I might go with what we were just looking at there, because this is probably a little tight. You know what? Maybe take... I was complaining about these, but I don't mind if I use just one of them. That there and that there. Remove the fairing from the staging. Yep, I'll do that. Thank you very much there, No Mercy. That will happen a little bit. I like to keep it in the staging for now, because as you move it around, it does affect the delta V, so I like to get it sort of approximately where it'll likely get staged. So this is 5,300 meters per second at delta V. A huge launch TWR. Probably throw some reaction wheels in. Oh, I don't think it needs reaction wheels. Nah. Well, maybe. Wouldn't hurt. What am I looking for? I'm looking for little tail fins. Silly. Little tail fins. Down here. Put the old boat tail on that. Feels small. I was just going over the whole, you know, joys of things being small, but now it feels really small. I'm gonna put in my KOS scriptable scripty surface in there. We'll give this a launch and we'll see how this goes. This will be like a test launch. What do I have for boot programs? I have a basic boot, load software boot. That doesn't matter about that. Polar orbit boot. So I'm gonna go with basic boot. Oh, you can change the energy density of this? I never knew it even held electricity. Okay. Let's throw some launch clamps on there. We're going to give this a test. This is just a proof of concept. Okay. We do want... and I know I'm going to try and not do as much KOSing, but I do want to take a very quick look at my orbit script. I hope people don't mind. And I just want to make sure. Do I stage the fairing and all that? I don't think I do. I think I need a smart part to stage the fairing. This is over in the... I get mixed up with what's in what program. Is there anything in here about staging the fairing? I don't think so. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, and I'll remember, turn that off. That's the thing that annoyed people the most. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a smart part. And the smart part's job is to... Where is it here? I'm going to use the altitude sensing smart part. Isn't there one? There it is, the Alt Pro smart part. And I'm going to set this for 55 kilometers. Oh, that's clearly too much. Or 50. Oh, I got to do it this way. 50 kilometers. And at 50 kilometers, I want it to activate Action Group 5. And then on Action Group 5, we're going to put this fairing. Okay, and then we're going to toggle the fairing out of the staging so I don't have to worry about it. We're also going to use one of these DrainX puppies. There we go. And we're going to put that right here. Oh, that's the... I see what's happening. Yeah, it goes right here. And that's going to wait for the liquid fuel to drain out, at which point it's going to stage. And that will do the staging and probably another one. I don't think it hurts to do the same thing here, and that'll stage. You know what? No, I'm going to do that one manually. By then I'll be in orbit and all that stuff. Okay, save that. TWR. It's the last thing I think I need to worry about. So I'm just going to give it a launch. TWR 1.34. Fine with that. What do you think? Are we ready for a check? It doesn't look like a moon rocket. I agree, but it is a teeny tiny little payload. It is a very tiny little payload. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run a simulation. We're going to see how this does. So simulate. Simulate. Yeah, it doesn't look, but it's a very small payload. I mean, this is the advantage of really small payloads. I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping to say when this is all over with. Okay, and we're already here, and again, I do have to just very briefly look at my orbit here. It takes two parameters. One is the heading, and the other is the design. Oh, but the defaults are 90 degrees and 80, which is what I want to do anyway. So I'm just going to run orbit and let it run at the defaults. So I'll hide that. I'm getting better at hiding that now. And don't worry about contracts. Let's see what happens if I just run that orbit and see what happens. Run orbit. Okay, and I have to stage manually. I could build in, and it's in case the engine doesn't ignite. So hopefully this sucker should get itself into orbit. And again, I'm not 100% familiar with this whole planet pack thing, so I'm hoping. This is Kerbin scale, clarify. So not real scale solar system. It's stock scale real solar system. That's a good way to put it. Yes. And again, the main reason I went with the stock scale, though I was really, really tempted to go to the 2.5 scale. I'd love, one of these days I really should do a live stream with the stock game on the 2.5 scale. I really kind of want to do that. But I just was worried about the pace of the streams. So I just basically stayed with the stock scale and just made it easier. Alright. So this is flying well. Despite not having any reaction wheels. The only reaction wheels, again, are in the probe body. Now, this engine is a gimbaled engine, so there is that. And it's reducing the throttle at that point. And again, it's reducing the throttle to keep the time to apoapsis at a nice 55 seconds. But we will be losing. This is going to burn for a little while longer, and then we're going to get onto the little pusher vehicle, which really is what's going to do most of the work of all of this. It's this little pusher fella on the top with this little spark engine. Alright. I think we'll be losing this before we stage the fairing. It definitely looks like that. So we're going to lose this booster. Should happen any moment now. Oh, and then there's what I didn't think about. Okay, I gotta take off the... The probe core was on that stage. It just went down. The KOS probe core. So I just lost. I'm gonna just launch this manually. That was silly. I'm gonna take off the KOS bit of it. Because, now this is pretty underpowered now. It's pretty underwhelming. I'm losing. My apoapsis is getting closer and closer to me. As long as it doesn't get too close, should be okay. Again, it's just a little spark engine. But yeah, I lost my KOS core. It went with that stage. But I'm looking at that time to apoapsis. It's only 38 seconds. 37 seconds. Of course, if we pass apoapsis, we have a problem. Now, I can fix that. I can actually, especially now that I'm doing manually, just simply pitch up. There we go. It's under control. Under control. Okay, again, we'll reduce throttle here a little bit. Really put some energy into that periapsis. I don't know how much fuel is... This can't be right. There's no way that 196 is right. Absolutely none. So I don't have Kerbal Engineer available because I didn't put a Kerbal Engineer chip on here. And, oops, let's cut that throttle. But there's no way this delta V that the game's giving me is right. So that's not trustworthy. So what I'm going to do to get a feel for what this... I don't know. Is I think I'll make note of how much fuel I have and then put those numbers in the VAB, and then that'll give me an idea what this delta V really is, because there's no way what it's showing there is right. There's absolutely none. Yeah, Kerbal Engineer, if I well, maybe I should just upgrade the tracking station. If I upgrade the tracking station, I get full-time Kerbal Engineer all the time. Maybe that might be the thing to do. See how much money I got. I think I got the money. Oh, but then that's going to take time to build. But then it might be quicker than building the rocket. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I'm still time warping just at 4 times speed. But there's no way the DV is only that. There's absolutely none. Okay, let's just increase this. Okay, there's an orbit. So how much fuel is left? I'm just going to write this down. 34.83 units of liquid fuel left in that tank. 34.83. Oh, the KRASH mod doesn't show the correct numbers unless you restart them. Okay, so it's the KRASH mod that's really messing these up. So, okay. But either way, I need to know what the right numbers are. So what we're going to do is we're going to terminate the simulation. I always forget to hit the little close button. So it's the KRASH mod that's responsible. Okay, so let's take this off. Oh, I took the whole... There we go. And I said that this was 34.83. So I'll actually put in that number. And I'll more or less match. $43 maybe. That's 42.5. I just want to match this. That's close enough. So how much DV is this saying? This saying 1480, so it should be good. Which is kind of where I thought it should be, so I think it should be good. So what I think I shall do is put that back, that back. I'm going to take off the whole KOS thing. No KOS. Okay, do I have some better textures on here? Might look maybe a smidge better. Maybe make the top part orange. I don't know. Sure. There we go. That's my textures and painting. TWR should still be fine, right? Yeah. And staging is fine. So there we go. I think I'm calling it. I think this is our Lunar one right here. So we'll save this, and we shall start that a building. That should do it, right? Yep. So if we come out of here, and open that up. So that's going to take, the Lunar one's going to take 6 days, a little over 6 days. I'm going to get the Orion 2 built before that. That's fine by me. And nothing going on there. Of course, the administration building is still being built. And should I upgrade this? Oh, I don't have the money for it. Okay, so that's not being upgraded. Okay, so I guess that's it. We'll just time warp to all of that stuff. So reconditioning the launch pad. There we go, the Orion 2. I'm just going to keep one of those in reserve. So this is my little single crewed orbiting spacecraft for getting into low orbit and a little bit beyond. I'm going to delete the Orion 1. That one's just there to confuse me. So we're going to scrap that. That gets us a bit of money when I do that. And 50 minutes for the Lunar 1. And I got nothing being built, but you know, I should just get in a... Oh, no. Whatever. It's done now. Roll out the Lunar 1. I should get in the habit of just always having something being built. And do I want to launch yet? This is where my non-familiarity with real solar system and all of that is going to play in a little. So let's get rid of this. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so this is the orbit obviously that we're going for. I might just time warp till it's like when we launch from here, we're going to go into a 28-degree inclined orbit, and we'd like that to match this. So I would think the right time to launch is when the KSC is right about here. So that we'll go down at 28 degrees and hopefully be in about the same plane as that. Now that has nothing to do with actually timing it with the moon. I'm hoping that makes some sense. So I'm thinking I'm going to actually do a save here. Oh, it won't let me at this point. Okay, fine. I'll just time warp. So we're going to come around. So the KSC is underneath this orbit. Oh, wait. Does that happen there, though? Ooh, that's a good point. I think maybe now. Right about now. See, the KSC's right here. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. We'll see. Go for a lunar polar orbit. Yeah, I am. I think I probably will do that, or at least very, very highly inclined. Actually, I think one... No, it doesn't require it. I don't think any of the experiments require it, but some of them are biome specific, so... definitely be probably going into, if not polar, very highly inclined. Okay, let's launch and see what happens. Let's launch and see what happens. When in doubt, launch and see what happens. And if I botch this, I botched this. Yeah, it might be easier to sort of set the moon as a target and look for... You don't want to... You'll never cross the moon's ascending... I don't know. It's all... This whole spherical trigonometry thing just kind of melts my brain sometimes. I know there are mods that helps you do it. So maybe I should just actually look at that. I think McJeb might help me do it, but... Lunar 1. Let's just do it. Info. Okay. This on. Manual insertion. Let's go. Let's go. And we'll knock that over about 5 degrees. Lock it onto prograde. And there we go. Let that ride. So I'm hoping, like if I go into map view, oh god, so many. So many. I'm hoping we'll be coming down. Should really watch my rocket, shouldn't I? But I'm hoping it'll work. Well, you're very welcome, Tom. I do enjoy those tutorials. They are a lot of fun. I had a big plan. Well, not a big plan, but I was always waiting for KSP2 before I decided on doing more tutorials. But I got a feeling KSP2 might not be something to wait for anymore. So I'll have to make kind of a decision at some point as to what's going to be the future of all those tutorials. Reduce and throttle. Again, just trying to keep that time to apoapsis a constant. Okay. And again, although I took out the KOS core, the staging is still going to happen automatically because that's being handled by smart parts. I love smart parts. It's funny how I have some mods that is just like I am not doing without these mods. And smart parts is most certainly one of them. Okay, and there's, oh, still a long ways to go here. Okay, about to lose this stage here, and then I'm going to really have to throttle up. Oh yeah, that's the fairing, that's fine. And then we go on to here. Just throttle that right up, because this is a very, very wimpy little engine there. We'll see if I need to pitch up again. Oh, now the DV numbers make a lot more sense. So it was the simulation that was doing it. Okay. I can actually reduce this throttle a little bit. Oh, I'm seeing a talk there about reusability in the chat. I find it a lot of work for not a lot of payoff. That's just me personally. I've in the stock scale game, I've never really found funds to be that much at a premium. So I've never really worried about, it's a ton of work for, I don't think, much gain. All right. We are in space. Still not quite at 80 on the apoapsis, so I'm just going to let that kind of build for a little bit. And oh, a little more. Oh, okay. So I'm hoping again that this is, I mean, it's not, if we look at the inclination of our orbit, I'm trying to match the plane of the moon's orbit. I don't think I've really succeeded that well, but I think I'm in the ballpark of it. That's the idea. I'm sure I didn't launch at the perfect time by any stretch. Okay, it's time warp a bit, and let's get up that periapsis and start thinking about getting this thing to the moon. How do you do a Munar sample and return? That'll probably be in the cards at some point. You just gotta land and come back. Oh, too much thrust. Too much thrust. Let it get closer. Again, really watching that time to apoapsis is what I look at. Just letting it get closer to apoapsis. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I do have to be careful with ignition. Still 13 ignitions, but I gotta not be willy-nilly with that. I gotta get in the habit of reducing the throttle rather than simply just cutting the throttle. Okay, so we're gonna do this. I want to just straighten this up. I'm not doing a very good job. There we go. We can extend that solar panel. Not going to start, well, experiments aren't going to run yet anyway, but where's the antenna? There. I'm going to open that up. And again, this isn't a relay, so why don't we get right into this. Command, rename. You are not a relay. You are a probe, despite the antenna that you have. Okay, let's think about the moon. So there's our orbit. There's the moon's orbit. It's not completely not in the realm the right thing. We got a radiation scan. That has nothing to do with this probe. That just happened, I think. Select that as a target, and we're going this way. So the moon is a little further than the stock moon is. Hey, we're getting an encounter. I'm more than pleased with that. Switch to that. Wowzers. Okay, let's focus on the moon itself. I think I am going to try this whole polar orbit thing. I think that's a good plan. It's really not any change in terms of the cost of the mission to do a polar orbit as opposed to anything else. I'm just pushing the timing, getting that periapsis as close as I can just by adjusting the timing, and then we'll come in closer like this. Now I guess the pole is here. I'm not used to things being so inclined. I guess, yeah, come back. Like I'm thinking that's polar. So used to everything being like that. What's my peri? I'm gonna need to want to come closer than that. I just want to take a look. Is there anything on this vessel that's biome specific in high space? If not, then I'm just gonna come straight in and do the. So I might want to go into a high orbit first and then come into a low orbit is what I'm thinking. No. What was that light again? Space high. Magnetometer report. Radiation scan. Did I lose something along this way? Maybe not. No, I think all the... Where's the one that took 7 days? That's the one I'm concerned. This magnetometer report. So if I'm going to spend... I want to spend 7 days in high space before going into the low orbit. So what I think I shall do... This 161 is definitely high space. I think I'm going to hang out here in this high space one, do all of that magnetometer report, and then scoot down. Or actually, you know what's better? Leave it in an elliptical orbit. That's a better plan. That's a better plan. So I'm going to bring that periapsis down. I'm going to have to play with both and the timing, I think. Like that. And then back. Oh, whoa, that's doing the opposite of what I want. Here we go. A bit. I mean, I can tweak this coming in too. There's no reason. I think it's more important to get the plane right than anything. I think that's good for our first go. We can definitely tweak this on the way in. I'm pretty happy with this. No mid-course correction, no nothing. Burn's coming up in 22 minutes. Can't complain about that. Okay, so it's a 47 meter per second burn. So I'm going to do a very quick save. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of it was what. Oh, the telemetry report was high and low biome specific. Sorry. Or was it just high and low? Telemetry reports just space high and low. I don't think there was any biome-specific space high. That's what I was really looking for. In which case, it would have stayed in a high orbit for a while. I think this is going to work. Okay. Nicey nice. I'm going to put this on the free view. That always looks way better on free view. And if I go to map view, am I looking at it from here? Yes. Okay. All right. 15 seconds. 5, 4, jumping the gun, 3, and a 2, and a 1, and a go. All right. The balance is good. And again, a lot of this work is going to be done by this guy. In fact, oh, that's something to think about. Do I want to... You know what? Let's see what the trajectory of this thing's going to be. We'll see. I was thinking, do I want to crash this bit into the moon? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe just let it swing on by the moon. Okay, back to here. Here it comes. Oh, stop doing that. That's the kind of thing I gotta stop. Okay, let's turn that thrust limiter, that stock habit of doing little pulses that uses up ignitions. Okay, that's good enough. All right. So we're gonna be there in 4 days and 47 minutes. Let's turn that thrust limit. Well, let's leave it where it is right now. What's nice is I think even if this stage died on me now, I think I still got enough DV in the stage below it. All right, let's activate everything. So on. Oh wait, I'm doing the opposite of activating everything. Just got to activate the magnetometer. I got a whole bunch of messages, but they're just about the vessel. Okay. Okay, we're on our way. So, I'm thinking just to get here. We can tweak the orbit more once we're there. So I'm going to do another quick save. I'm going to use alarm clock. I find I'm more dependable with alarm clock. So we're going to add in, like, give me like 3 minutes warning before the SOI change. Got to use alarm clock more. There we go. Where is the moon, by the way? Is that it there? I don't think so. I think we're just seeing the other planets. Oh, we got some light experiment coming at us. There we go. You know, things are coming at you out of plane and stuff too, so it's it's so different from the stock game. Oh, I think here comes the moon here. You can see its silhouette against the sun. Oh, we can time warp quicker. Getting all kinds of stuff. I don't think it's all coming from this, though. I got other satellites out doing their things, too. What's my science now at? I love the fact that science is collected when I'm like, ooh, 50.8. I think that's enough to unlock a... Okay. I think that is enough to unlock... I can say words. To unlock the better probe body. Or not the better probe body, the 2 crew capsule. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, looking for that plane change. Get rid of alarm clock. Okay, there we go. So now we should be collecting all, not really as much as you might think. The magnetometer report is going, but we have done a flyby of the moon before. Okay. So all of this stuff's not, I think all the high space stuff is all done. It's just the magnetometer report. But that is going to take days. So I am going to go for this capture here. So I'm just going to keep the periapsis up high. If we have debris floating around the moon, that's okay. Or the apoapsis up high. That's good. That'll give me a good chunk of time in high space and low space. I think that works. So F5. I think I turned down this throttle limiter, so I think that's why that burn time is so silly. What is... I want to keep the T... Yeah, the T... Oh, it's showing... I hate that. That the TWRs... relative to the moon's SOI. Why should I care? Unless I'm landing, I don't care. I'll lower it and just get the burn time down. 14 seconds. There we go. 19-second burn. Okay, so F5 again. We'll get down there and we'll do it. So where is the moon? There's the moon there. I don't know if you can see it or not. What's the separation? I think the separation between high space and low space is the same as it is in stock. And isn't that like 30 kilometers? We're going to find out. But I always thought it was like 30 kilometers. When these all click on, that'll be it. Because I've not been in low space about the moon yet. So we're keeping a close eye on it. Okay, slow down here a little bit. So, oh, there we go. So it was around 60 kilometers or something. 60, 58. I always forget these numbers. But it has gone into space low now. Oh, maybe I did come near because some of this is done. Oh my gosh. I guess I might have come in close to the moon. All right, where are we at? Where are we at? Let's put this onto the maneuver node. Again, I'm going to retract the magnetometer boom for no other reason than I'm not convinced. Also, I'm not checking my solar... Oh, no, I got a good signal with Earth. That's not going to be a problem. Or my signal. But again, I'm not sure if it models the mass being way out there or not. So I think it doesn't hurt to retract it just to be sure. In 2.5, it's 60. I sure felt like it was 60. Like I saw everything click on here. So maybe something's... Maybe it's a little messed up. I don't know. Okay, time warp a little further. 4 credits. Light moon science. Temperature scan. Getting lots and lots of science, which was the entire purpose of all of this. Now, am I going to be... This is going to be able to do the whole thing. Oh my gosh. The whole top probe is not doing anything. I overbuilt this. I guess it's better that than the other way around. And we were all thinking it looked small. Isn't that funny? 3, 2, and go. And there's nothing precise about this burn, because I just want to leave the apoapsis up so we can get both near space and, or low space and high space. That's it. So I'm very fine with that. Close that. Again, straighten this up a bit. We can extend that magnetometer again. Oops, I'm still locked on retrograde, that's why. It's really the magnetometer that's taken all the time. It's like everything else is largely done, though some of these are biome specific. I know that. Aren't they? I thought some of them were... Oh, what do I know? These all just say space low. Okay, fine. Whatever. It's getting science. That's all I want. So basically now we're just going to leave it in this orbit until, see, as soon as it gets above a certain altitude, well, that's not the altitude. As soon as it gets out of near space, this magnetometer is going to switch over to high space. Let's pay attention and see if we can catch the altitude that happens again. So it's still space low, space low. Still space low. And there, it just went high. It's 60 kilometers. 60 kilometers is definitely the boundary. So it's going to spend 5 days, 5 hours in high space. The period of this orbit is what? Doesn't it tell me here somewhere? There it is, 1 hour and 44 minutes. So it's going to be doing quite a number of orbits before this high space one is done. And then we'll put it into the a low orbit, and we'll just kind of leave it there. And that is really going to be about it. And wow. Usually I kind of, you know, let's see if we can do that. No. We should go back and build. We should definitely go back and build. So let's get back to the Space Center. Usually I do these streams, and I plan an idea of what I want to do, and then I don't get anywhere near getting it done. And this one, I wrote down notes and all the things I wanted to do. And I'm looking, we're just 1 hour and 38 minutes into the stream. Usually I like to push 2, but let's take a look to see what contracts are coming up. I do want to get something else building. You don't speak. Yeah, I think I kind of messed up with thinking what's high space and what's low space, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh, we did get world's first milestone. Remember, we're supposed to get a bonus. Look at that cash bonus there. We have entered the orbit of the moon. That's not 400% though. I don't know. Whatever. And then our orbit the moon contract is done, and we got new strategies available. Now, speaking of strategies, that's not the button I wanted to look at. Oh, the administration building is complete, so I can pick another strategy. We do have the moon probes. I'm going to stick with that, but let's take a look at these other ones. So we got astronaut training. Training program. Might want to do so. When you hired astronauts start at level 1. I don't care about that because I rescue almost all my astronauts. 100% funds to hiring costs. I don't care about that. Do I get any bonus though for level 2? So to get to level 2, I like that it tells you at least 2 million funds. So I got to get a bunch of funds to get to the level 2 one. All these do is just make it cheaper to hire astronauts. I don't care about that. We have massive launches. I'm not too good at massive launches because I got to launch stuff over 20 tons for that. I'm not. Contract slot machine. I don't. This is just, it does random, like, what's it do here? Removes reputation loss on contract decline. If you decline a contract, randomly modifies contract rewards and penalties between -50 and +50%. Not a fan. Not gonna do. I'm not a randomizing kind of guy. What's this one? To boldly go, plus 15,000 funds when science is transmitted or recovered from new biomes. Okay. And 25, boldly goal 2, 25,000 funds when science is transmitted, recovered from new biomes, 100,000 funds when science is transmitted, recovered from new celestial bodies. I might go with that. Now I do have Probe Frenzy, reducing the costs of launching probes, getting more science from transmissions. Considering how much I do from transmitting, that might not be a bad idea. Then we got local science. We have free ice cream. Costs 5,000 funds every 30 days, but you gain 2.5 reputation. And then there's the media circus. Plus 25,000 funds to launch costs, but you get reputation gained by astronauts. Awarded upon recovery. I'll stay away from that. Pilot focus. Plus 50% rewards from tourism plus K-planes. I love that it sees K-planes. Basic plane development, early K-planes developed, modern, so okay. Well, maybe we should do some more stuff with planes, I don't know. Here I need to get at least 100 science, I'm currently at 90. Well, that's not going to last because I'm going to spend that. 50% rewards for station, bases, and station. I love bases and stations. But I don't think we're there. And then science focus. Plus 50% rewards for science collection contracts when scientists are present. Give Bob something to do. What I think. Let's go with the to boldly go. Because I think that works well with this to land in 3 different biomes on the moon. So I'm going to grab to boldly go. That cost me 50,000 funds. I'm comfortable with that. So that will be a second active strategy. So I'll have to remember to think about that stuff. And I got to think about comm networks and stuff like that in the future as well. And I don't know why these are in a funny place. And let's take a look at contracts. So we do have comm networks around the moon. So people are thinking maybe I should go there. Do relays around the moon. Then we have exploration plus. Land on the moon. Now this is the crew thing. No. I could get it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's good for me to go through all these right now. So what I'll do though is I will go into here. Because I think I got almost, I got 89 science. So for 85, I could get the Mark 1 crew capsule. But for 30, I can get the 2-person P reentry pod. I'm really kind of excited about that. Oh, and finally some navigation lights. What do we got here? Oh, these are station parts. I love building space stations. That's an 85er, but I'm really thinking this. I want to get a 2 crewed one going so I can build something that I'm not so embarrassed about. And I'd love to get some bigger. Oh, look at, we got a launch escape system here. We got RCS. What's over this way? Small rocket boosters. Yeah, I never use SRBs anymore. Oh, these are increases to those engines. Where are the bigger fuel cans? There we are. I want to get those. That's 85. All right, so that's going to have to be for the future. But we do have, on the tech front, reentry modules being met. I do have to get into, take a look at contracts and think about what I'm going to be building next. Think about upgrading the tracking station. Yep, that's probably a good idea. And then I get engineer like all the time. That might be worth it. But you know what? I'm looking at the time. I'm looking at where we're at. And I'm thinking, probably not the best time to get into something new. So what I'm going to do between now and the next stream, I'm going to take a good look at the contracts, think about what to do next. I'd like to get back into getting Kerbals into space and hessing around. We also got to think about that moon program and start thinking about landers and things to land on the moon. But all that is going to have to be for the future. So for now, I'm going to thank everybody in the chat. I'm going to thank everybody watching this at a later date. If you have ideas on what you would like to see me do next, put your comments down there in the comments section. That's where comments go, in the comments section. And of course, a very, very special thank you to all of my Patreon patrons and YouTube members who continue to support this channel. Have yourself a fantastic week. On Saturday, I do have my next RP1 video coming out, so if you're interested in that, that will be dropping on Saturday. But in the meantime, we'll see you all next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.